Hello all, it's Ruthie here with Ruthie Reviews, and last week as I travelled around the internet I found a really lovely book, My Book of Firsts, Poems Celebrating a Baby's Milestones, written by Wardlaw and illustrated by Bruno Brogna. And I was drawn to this book because it's just so pretty, and I read the free sample of poetry that you can on Amazon, and it was actually really good, which is lovely because sometimes poetry in children's books is not lovely, but this was, and I really enjoyed it. And actually the interesting thing is that when I showed it to Mum got particularly enthusiastic, which is actually worth pointing out because Mum is a lot harder to impress with children's books than I am. But Mum thought this was really pretty, and she seemed to really spark up, and she thought that it would be very good for a baby shower. And she also agreed when I said I thought it would be a really good book for if you were expecting your second baby and you wanted to get the first child excited about the new sibling arriving. Which, as I've said in another video, Mum was always the best at doing. Mum always got us very excited for the arrival of the new baby. Tremendously good at that she was. Anyway, the poems are really sweet and cute, and they kind of make me think of, there's a book, I can't remember what it's called, that's really bad, but it's a collection of poems by A.A. Mills, the chap who wrote Winnie the Pooh. He also wrote some really lovely little poems, and he had a collection of them, and the style made me think of that, so I really enjoyed it. It was a book that I could imagine a small child really enjoying, probably one that's a little bit older than a baby actually, but you know, as I say, babies affect the whole family, and this would be a really good way of getting a slightly older child to view it as a very positive experience. And I think that the milestones are really clever. It's got milestones in there I wouldn't have thought of, like I mean, obviously I liked first book. I thought that was really a really appropriate thing to have a poem about. Obviously, being a writer, that really got me going. I thought, yes, that's right, get them enthused about literature early. I thought, how excellent. And then I thought first game was lovely. I wouldn't have thought of putting that at first haircut. I think what I'll do now is I'll just move the camera over so I can show you what the other part of the book I really like, which of course is the illustrations. Very pretty book. So I think I'll just move the camera over so you can see properly. So when I first went through the book, due to the soft, luminous style of illustration, I assumed it was watercolor, but what I found in the back, and I really do like this when people do this, a little bit about the illustrator and the author, is it says that Bruno Brogna is an illustrator who specializes in creating characters for greeting cards and children's books. He finds that traditional drawing in his sketchbook allows him to express his ideas quickly and directly before completing the process on a computer using digital watercolor. Now, I just want to point out, I want to make this very, very clear, that digital watercolor is by no means the same as AI generated art. It's actually still drawing. It's just you use a computer as a sketch pad instead of a piece of paper, because, you know, these days I think sometimes people get a bit confused about that and they think, oh, it's a computer, it must be AI. No, absolutely not. I know an artist who works like that. Her name is Taser Smith, and she's very, very good. So it's not something you get the computer to generate. The artist is still very, very much in control of the process. It's just a different way of doing it. And I think these are really beautiful because I would have said traditional watercolor. And I think it's rather exciting to see technology used to create art. I do like that. I'm very enthusiastic about technology when it's used to create art. And I think these pictures are absolutely beautiful. Very, very talented indeed. The other thing I really like about them is that they have a crisp precision to them. And I really like that. They're not overly splashy. They're really quite controlled. They have that soft, luminous, appealing, how should I put this? Watercolors are very expressive. They have a great capacity for being very expressive because of the way they sort of slosh over the page. But what I really like is the precision and the control that has been exercised in these illustrations. So you get a very crisp picture, but you still get that soft, appealing watercolor feel, which is actually rather difficult to do. So I think that Mr. Bruno Brogna is a very, very talented illustrator indeed. And there's a little bit on the author too. It says Lee Wardlaw is an award-winning children's author, best known for her poetry book Wonton, a cat tale told in haiku. Well, that sounds interesting. I might have to look for that. And its companion title, Wonton and Chopstick. Haha, I like that. Lee has 2 degrees in education and taught both elementary and preschool for several years. That explains why it's such a appealing book for children. She knows what she's doing. Before deciding to write full-time, she claims her first word was kitty. Well, that's cute. Mine was turtle. So, very, very pretty indeed. And just the thing, if you have to go to a baby shower or you're trying to encourage a small child to look forward to a new sibling. Sometimes it's very helpful with children to make them feel ahead of the game, like they're so much cleverer than the, I put that there to mark out this, make them feel cleverer than the incoming child. I think that can be actually very helpful. So, oh, look at this. You'll be able to help when they go through this. Can help a 3-year-old very hugely, I think. So this is rather nice. There's a page for my milestones, which I think would probably become more valuable with the passing of years. I think that's something that would become incredibly interesting when you have your own children. I'm just guessing. And my favourite page, my favourite illustration, they're all pretty, but I just love this one. I'll just put this. Was the one that went with the poem First Word. Another concept I was thrilled and delighted to see right up there with First Book. But I thought that that picture was just exquisite. In fact, that's so beautiful. I'd probably hang that on a nursery wall. I just think that's just everything an illustration a children's book should be. It's beautiful, it's serene, it's well done, it's just a delight. And actually, I think delight might be the word to sum up the entire book. My book of firsts, poem celebrating a baby's milestones, written by Lee Wardlaw, illustrated by Bruno Brogna. I got my copy of the book on Amazon, but I imagine you can get it wherever good books are sold. And of course, if you don't want to buy it, you can always get your local library to order it in. In fact, even if you do want to buy it, you should probably still get your local library to order it in, because it's a beautiful book and that would be a really kind thing for you to do for your community, to put such a lovely book into library circulation. And I will put a link below to the Amazon for New Zealand and Australian customers. Oh, I did want to say too that I apologise for the fact I'm only providing one Amazon link these days and I'm not putting any other Amazon links there. What's happened is, because I live in Australia, Amazon keeps trying to direct me to the Amazon for Australia, which means sometimes it can take me, to put a link to the UK and America, it can take me an hour of just trying again and again and again to get the computer to cooperate, and I just don't really find it worth it. It's just exhausting. So I think the thing to do is, if you live elsewhere, just type the name of the book, My Book of Firsts, and the name of the author, Lee Wardlaw, and the illustrator, Bruno Brogna, into Amazon, and it should pop up and you should be able to get it. Or, as I say, go and ask your local library to get it in, because it is a delight. Anyway, this has been Ruthie reviewing a book my book of firsts. Highly recommend it, very charming, and Mum recommends it too, which is actually quite hard to accomplish with a book. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.